Hey, this is Notser, and we're taking a look at the premium Tier 9 American battleship, Missouri, on the map Shatter. This is sort of the swan song for the Missouri. As many of you know, 7.2, it is being removed from the tech tree. Now, if you have it already, don't worry, they're not taking it away. But if you don't, and you're considering, should I get this or the Musashi? The credit income will speak for itself. I think you'll agree once you see it. As far as my build is concerned, auxiliary armament, lower chance of flood and fire, improved AA range, faster rudder shift, concealment, improved accuracy with main battery. For my commander, preventative maintenance, expert marksman, adrenaline rush, basic firing training, superintendent, advanced firing training, and concealment. It's a really straightforward build. I would consider swapping out rudder shift for lower fire and flood duration, but it works out in this game. Honestly, it's down to how you play and who you're going up against. If you're going up against a ton of HE slinging British battleships, well, go a full anti-fire build. If you are obviously running across a lot of aircraft carriers, well, maybe it's not as important, especially American, because they'll probably be rocking AP bombs. So, based on the level of play and the opponents, you can tailor your build. This build works pretty well with everything. Some of you might be wondering, how do you make so much money? Well, I'm using the Gamescom camo, so I think it has 50% increased credit income attached to it. I'm not precise on what it is, but it is one of the camos that increases your credit income, and that's fabulous. I really enjoy broadside battleships that are stationary too. Pretty accurate guns. Along with the Gamescom camo, I'm also using 2 signal flags. Yes, 2. One signal flag you earn from First Blood, and another signal flag that is, I think, 100 or 200% extra credit income. It's from special super containers and unique stuff like the French. You might get one in the French. I'm not 100%. See you later, Montana. And to top it all off, I'm using the American 4th of July flag that they gave out like 2 or 3 years ago. It has 5% increased credit income. It is no longer available, and it will never be available. So yeah, I have quite literally the absolute maximum credit income that you could possibly have of any and all ships in the game. But that doesn't mean you need to have every single one. And oh, we barely missed that Citadel to kill that guy. That doesn't mean you have to have all that. I'm just giving it all as an example of tools you can use to better improve your overall income. If you have access to signal flags, if you have access to the camo, if you have access to the flag itself, that's great. But it's not completely necessary. It's more a bonus. So we're engaging the targets. I noticed that there was a Conqueror moving towards B point. I don't want to mess with the Conqueror. I just want to support my teammates and take out targets that are vulnerable. And speaking of vulnerability, the Baltimore, I would have loved to have gotten on his broadside if it were not for this Conqueror who pushed towards B point. So of course he captures it. And do my eyes deceive me? It looks like he is rocking the 457 millimeter guns. And we just barely missed a perfect broadside. He angled just in the nick of time, and we hit a part of his ship that is a little... Yes, he is! Did you see that? Only 4 shells came our way. It's very rare to run into Conquerors that use this build. But notice he's flinging AP, and I gotta be careful. So, since he's moved off a little bit, I'm gonna move forward. Maybe get a little bit of shots on this Iowa. Enemies, of course, want to engage me. I've already done 71,000, 2 kills. I am a mega threat. And there is an enemy Des Moines sort of camping on the side. Getting a little bit of damage there. And we're detected by radar. So the Des Moines is using his radar, probably to detect the friendly destroyer, the I believe it's Yugamon? Is that the destroyer south of me? I see sort of a little preview window, so I don't see it exactly. I like to commentate after because I want to focus on the battle. I was thinking maybe I could get a broadside on the Minotaur as he is moving away from Sea Point. We get a little bit of damage on him, but not as much as I would have liked. I still want to be in position to punish the enemy Des Moines. I just can't believe he would be allowed to sit there, but based on the map, there's really nobody in position to move him. Everyone is either on A point or they've over-rotated into a weird position where they can't push him out of that location. And if you can't push a American cruiser out of his location, just like that Baltimore, they're going to camp there the entire game. It's I don't blame them. It's just incredibly predictable and boring at times to see the playstyle. I would prefer something that has a little bit more, I don't know, variety in the way they approach situations, but I can't blame them. This is a high win percentage strategy. It's just, I could not play the same ship like that forever. If I played the Des Moines, I would probably have to play, you know, some DDs, some battleships, some other cruisers that don't play that predictably. So we lose the friendly destroyer. Clearly the Des Moines will kick his butt. And I don't feel any expectation that the Des Moines is going to move, because he hasn't had to. So I'm going to reposition and try and find a little bit of a shot on someone else. And yes, I am absolutely keenly aware that, man, he has to move at some point. So I do want to have my guns ready to go. And I do have a potential shot on him, just barely. He's going to back up. And I'm going to run in the island to do this shot. Unfortunately, it doesn't punish him enough to justify what's going to happen right now. We pulled a Notser. You know, it's whatever. But this is sort of a weird fight. We've got two bases, but we don't really have any presence on the eastern side of the map. I would love to try and punish some of these ships, like the Des Moines, like the Baltimore that I believe is still there, unless he's already killed. But oh, as soon as I'm backing up into this position, the Shimakaze shows up. It's so typical. It really is so typical. It's just such a weird way to play. How many games have you been in where a Japanese destroyer has ignored everything, objective, enemy ships, just to sail over to the enemy aircraft carrier? And he's going to get a lot of damage on this guy. And I am spamming the hell out of my team. Hey, we have to all turn and fire on this guy. Don't rely on someone else to do the job for you. If we all work together, we can maybe save the aircraft carrier. Of course, that's before the aircraft carrier dies to the massive amount of torpedoes. So I'm going to take it, and I'm going to go. I'm going to use my back gun one time on the Des Moines, but I'm going to try and pursue the enemy destroyer. I have radar, obviously. It's the only battleship in the game with radar, and hopefully it's the only battleship that ever has radar. But we do take a torpedo in our blind rage to kick this guy's butt. He took out our aircraft carrier, man. It's a big deal. So, of course, I use radar. I probably should have waited until my front guns were rotating in position, so we're going to waste probably 5, 6, 7 seconds before we fire. But we have this nice, beautiful picture of the enemy DD just sailing away, and just so close. Could have easily killed him with that single salvo of all three, but barely missed. The dispersion was not in our favor. I'm not going to complain, considering that the Missouri is beautiful and incredibly accurate, so I'm going to try one last blind fire, sort of predicting maybe he's in that area. Yeah, obviously it's irrelevant, shouldn't have done it. But here we find ourselves at a disadvantage. Enemy has 2 bases to our 1. We have 3 ships to their 6. Yes, 6 ships. The enemy should die. There are multiple ships, and I would love to hit this guy. Oh, man. If I could have that shot back. I fired before I realized he was completely stationary and going reverse. I could have killed him. I could have killed him right there. And you're going to see why. That's a big deal at the end of this game. But we're detected. Enemy Shimakaze sends torpedoes my way. Thankfully, I miss them. Waiting on my radar. I'm going to try and engage this Conqueror on somewhat even footing. But he is using the big guns. 457. So he will absolutely be able to obliterate in a short amount of time. He just won't do massive damage over time. So that's sort of his trade-off. And obviously, in this stage of the game, the big gun is what you want. If it would have been a long-range engagement, well, guess what? That would have been better. So we've seen not 1, but 2 Shimakaze sets so far. I know he's trying to hound me. He's shadowing me. So, I'm formulating a plan in my mind. Obviously, the friendlies are dealing with that. And I have this Conqueror, and the Conqueror doesn't want to engage me for whatever reason. But I have radar. It just came back up. Do you know what I could do with this skill? I could kill the enemy Shimakaze because he doesn't know that I intend to bait him in and to use radar against him. So I slowly rotate my guns into position where I think he might be, and we use radar. And sure enough, he's trying to shadow me, and he's going, oh, crap. Should have expected this one, I think. So we take him out, and friendlies take out another ship. It's 3 versus 3. Not bad, right? Not bad at all. And now I have to deal with a Conqueror that is very healthy, and he is definitely going to try and round that corner. And I'm going to try my best to mitigate this shot. So 457 is not enough to overmatch a 32mm bow. Unfortunately, he knows where to place his shots. He's going after the superstructure, and here's the last torpedo set. Thankfully, there's plenty of gap. I don't have to worry about it. So I use my Heom. Unfortunately, he knows where to place his shots, which is the superstructure. He's always going to do full damage. He's just not going to get citadels, which he wasn't going to get anyway. And in return, I'm going to fire just a little bit above the hull, just a little bit above the waterline on the hull, because I'm not going to citadel him at this range. And while this is going on, enemy aircraft are incoming. You do want to select the target. It does increase your damage towards the target. And we're just going to try and work them down. I immediately shift once the close enemy dive bomber attacks, just to get the most benefit from my DPS on the incoming. Obviously, it doesn't matter if they're both retreating. And I'm just trying to cap A point, which won't happen as long as this guy's alive. Mitigate the incoming damage, which not doing very well, admittedly. And hopefully maybe the Yamato can punish his nose and completely obliterate him. That's what I'm hoping. Friendly's trying to capture B point, which is good. The enemy destroyer, the Fletcher that we saw, is too low. He's not going to show himself. He's going to stay hidden the entire time, which he can. He doesn't have an enemy aircraft carrier going after him. And please leave me alone. Please leave me alone. God, I want him to leave me alone. I'm going to angle to fire all my guns. This is probably the last time I'll see him before he engages the friendly Yamato. And we're going to get fair amount of damage. But I am sort of moving out of A point, and that is not good. They're going to benefit from it. So I need to either put it in full reverse or go all the way around and work back around. So I'm like, I don't know that staying in A point was going to work out for me, because I did need to get distance to mitigate. Some of those salvos were 12,000 on my superstructure. And then other salvos were only 5,000. So I think the distance helped me. Oh, gosh. I did not expect that. Friendly battleship goes from like 30 or 40,000 to nothing. Gosh. Japanese battleships are just weak in close proximity. Everyone has a citadel that's near impossible to hit at close range, and yet the Japanese are easily punished. It's just brutal. But, you know, keep on fighting. So I'm going to engage this guy, elevate that gunshot. Felt pretty good about it. Didn't feel like it was that good. We found 2 citadels. He switches to his HE for whatever reason, and I'm able to put the fire out. I have to obviously mitigate it. I don't have any heal. I don't have anything left. But we're able to defend B point. I'm going to try and capture A point. And I don't know that there's anything else I can do. The aircraft carrier might try and attack. The Fletcher is absolutely not going to be showing himself. Boy, I wish I had that shot back. I had in my hand the shot to kill the Fletcher, which would have prevented C point from being captured. And we would have B, C, and work on A. But as it stands now, we don't. Enemy aircraft is incoming, so obviously I'm going to set it as my primary. I'm going to try and avoid it as long as possible, extend the time that the dive bomber has to travel to me, and immediately switch it whenever the closer squadron is defeated. We should capture this base. It should be close if a dive bomber gets through. I mean, he's got, what, 2 or 3 aircraft at this point. Once again, it's very small in my preview window. I really want to kill this before he dives. Yes, okay. So we capture the base. We got 2 bases to their 1, but there's just not enough time. And, man, this was a great game. Great game. It was really fun to get the broadside on some of the battleships, bait that Shimakaze, and he did not see that coming. Man, if I would have taken that Fletcher out, it would have been beautiful. It would have been gorgeous. But as it stands, it was a great game. I really, really enjoy the Missouri. You can tell she's got a lot of power. Very, very accurate guns that easily find the citadel of most targets. And as you'll see at the end of this, the credit income is off the charts. And it's just slowly ticking, 997. It's going to go 1,000, and the enemy team's going to win. And you're going to see the damage. And the damage is extensive. I'm telling you right now, I don't think I've seen a number this large. Gosh. 2,299,977 credits earned in one battle. 166,000 damage done. Tons of aircraft shot down. 4 kills. 2,224 base XP in a loss. That was a big 3-0 at least if we would have won that with the 1.5 modifier. But, you know, the income was all we really needed, and she's awesome. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.